Okay, let's start with the discussion. If you take the 4 subjects you have with the pre-scene, for the taxation subject, the usage of pre-scene is very little. Only they give you the hints. Strategic management, most of the time you have to use the pre-scene. FM, again, it gives only the hints, right? Again, ABR, total paper, that 50 marks of the last question depends on the entire on the pre-scene, right? Okay, first of all, I want to show you the areas that the areas included in your syllabus that can be tested with pre-scene, right? What are the areas in your syllabus can be connected to the pre-scene and can be tested with question number 3. Now, here I have pointed out 8 areas which is coming from your syllabus that can be tested with question number 3, but they are not going to test all the areas with the question number 3. They will capture 3 or 4, maximum 3 or 4 areas to be tested, right? But these are the all areas which can be tested. That's the first thing you need to understand, right? If you take your syllabus, you have 2 books. One is the financial reporting part, and second one is for the corporate governance and ethics, internal controls part, right? Now, I have identified those all areas here. That you have a topic called materiality, right? It is in the second book, going concern. Material misstatements, right? Material misstatements connected with accounting standard, SLFRS and LKS. Then internal control, not only internal control and corporate governance, both, right? Because you have first 2-3 lessons for corporate governance in the second book. Here you have, I think, 4 or 5 topics, right? I have taken it together: internal control and corporate governance, the first part. Then ethics, that is from the second book, right? Up to ethics from the second book. Then when it's come to the first book, acquisition, disposals, restructuring, right? Those 3 can be tested. Now your biggest question will come from acquisition, disposals and restructuring. As you, if you refer that the past papers, right? Past papers also, first question coming from this restructuring of the groups or disposal of your some companies or acquisition of new ventures. These are the total areas can be tested. Okay, now let's move into the pre-scene given, and let's see what are the areas that can be tested, right? That's how you need to read the pre-scene. Just don't read the pre-scene without having proper knowledge about the syllabus, right? You have to point that out. At least open the page of the content page of the both books, right? You have 2 books, open the both books, right? Then the content page, then you know what are the topics you have, then read the pre-scene. Then while you read in the pre-scene, you know this area will be connected to this topic, this area will be connected to this topic, likewise, right? Okay, as we discussed yesterday as well, this is the group structure in ABR, right? This is the most important part in ABR, right? And ABR is an open book exam. Everything then now open, right? Because here Sri Lanka introduced additional booklets stamped by them, which can be bring to the exam hall. Therefore, even this group structure also you can note it down by a pencil, right? I don't think it is illegal, because in a pencil you can sketch your pre-scene, right? Because at the exam also they will give you a pre-scene. Therefore, you can sketch out this is the structure, because there no need to spend the time at the exam hall. This is very important to you, because restructuring means that shareholding structure can be changed because of new one come and acquire the group. For an example, say foreign investor will come to the country and acquire 50% of the SCP construction, right? Then you have to restructure everything, that shareholding structure. Sometimes Punchibanda and Kosalapwa, that both father and son, will sell their stakes to foreign company, and foreign company will give them their own shares. Then father and son will become the shareholder of that foreign company, and they will transfer their shareholding into that company. The share exchange. It's a restructuring thing, right? The shareholding will be restructured. Therefore, this group structure is very important. Then moving into the uh, board structure, also the next important area which connected to the corporate governance, right? Here they have not provided properly qualifications of the directors, right? In corporate governance code, they mention you need someone who have financial acumen within the board. Generally, he will be the head of audit committee. He should be an independent, non-executive director. Those are the basic requirements in the corporate governance. But if you go through this board structure, Punchibanda and four brothers, according to the pre-scene, we can assume the first five, then two friends who recruited as executive directors initially, and after the IPO, they recruited another two independent directors, Hemak and Bhuvanekar. Now, on the face of it, you can see this is not aligned with the corporate governance requirement, because corporate governance requirement is 3 or 1/3. Am I correct with that? 3 or 1/3, right? Should be executive. I'm asking from the audience, is that correct? 3 or 1/3, whichever is higher. Now, when it's come to here, you can't see that's not compliant, right? In addition to that, we will take the other parts also, but I have mentioned here the audit committees, no subcommittee, no information about subcommittees, right? Generally, according to the corporate governance, it's compulsory for the listed companies. They should have nomination committee, remuneration committee, audit committee, related party review committee, risk committee, lot of committees there, but they are not talking about those subcommittees except audit committee. Then when it's come to the audit committee, again there is an issue, because we will take that part, the composition of the audit committee, qualification of the members, independence of the members at a risk. Therefore, you need to concern corporate governance matters as well in this time. Then possible management override. This is coming from the risk material misstatements, possible material misstatement, possible management over risk. Why I am telling like that? Here, if you go through Punjibanda Kosala, the father and son has 56% of the company. That means both can pass any general resolution, right? General resolution required only 50% shareholding voting. Now, father and son has 56. Another two friends also have 4%, altogether 60. Even two friends not supported them, they can pass any general resolution, voting resolution. That means father and son can do what they want actually. Then all the internal control established, all the governance established can be overridden by the chairman and the vice chairman. That's the other risk. Father and son, chairman and vice chairman, having more than 56% shareholding is a risk. That's why I have mentioned possible management override there. I have included all the slide which I discussed yesterday, but I have selected all the important points from those slides to this slide as important inputs. These are the important inputs you need to implement into the subject, right? If you read it again and read it again, acquiring one or two local manufacturing establishments as a strategy to have good quality product and maintain company vision. You can remember, they emphasize that quality of the material and supplies to the construction projects, right? Because of the restriction, they acquired low quality item. It was against their slogan. Therefore, they suggested to better to acquire one or two other manufacturing establishments to support their construction company, right? Now, if you think about that point seriously, going back to the group structure, now you can see SML is the manufacturing company who supports the construction projects. They manufacture 4 items, right? If you go back to the pre-scene mention what are the manufacturing items they are doing. The company manufactures, processes the following input related to the construction based on the above strategies: autoclaved aerated concrete, then soil and sand, right? Bricks and concrete mix. These things they are currently produced under SML and supplies to their parent company as well as outside market. Now they are thinking about having additional the manufacturing establishments, right? Now this can be happen. Now I am predicting, right? Just note down if you want. This can be happen under SML or under SCP. That means you need to note down that those are not included in my presentation. Therefore, please take those notes. Sometime another group can be acquired under this, right? Have the group structure. I will give you like this, right? New group can be acquired under this red color shows you the possibilities, right? Under here, that new company may have another subsidiary as well. That the another possibility, right? They may have another subsidiary or associate, right? Here like this. This subsidiary may be an associate or joint venture or subsidiary, right? The entity after that, say you are going to acquire A, right? A has another company B. B can be an associate, right? Or joint venture or a subsidiary of A. Then it's come to the complex group structure. You can have another subsidiary like SML and SREL. Or the same thing can be happen under SML, right? Like this. This is the second possibility. I think you will note down, right? He may acquire another company under SML. Or there is another possibility in the under SML. SML acquire another subsidiary, including another subsidiary. Or SML can be amalgamate with another similar company, right? Note down. Write down possible acquisition, right? Write down possible acquisition. Here, restructuring, I have mentioned acquisition of 1 or 2 local manufacturing establishments. Under this, SCP will acquire another group. That's my first one, right? Or SML will acquire another entity or group. This shows complex group structures, right? That's the lesson. Complex group structure. Not only that, what I am going to tell you, SCP can be acquire another group. That means that acquiree will come up with another subsidiary, or SML will acquire only single entity or another group. These two cases gives you idea about complex group structure, right? And my important point, you know, they are talking about acquiring another manufacturing establishment, right? However, SML also currently doing the same business. Therefore, instead of acquiring, amalgamating with similar entity, SML will do this. Amalgamating with similar entity. Those are the possibilities. Now, if so, This will check your complex group structure. Second, also the complex group structure. But third shows amalgamations. Amalgamation was tested only one time in your past papers. There is no standard for amalgamation, right? There's a separate statement special document published by CS Sri Lanka for accounting for amalgamations. Those are the possibilities of acquisitions. I don't think SREL will acquire another real estate company. Those who produce constructing condominium properties, because condominium property industry will take another more years to boom. Therefore, this will be happen in the SML area. SML can amalgamate, SML can acquire group or entity, or SCP will acquire one or more entities. Right? These are the possibilities which connected to my slide number 5. That is number 1. Is that clear with that? If you go back to this restructure, the structure can become under SCP or SML, or SML will amalgamate with another company. It's a merger, right? It will be a merger, amalgamation. You write down the both words, mergers and amalgamations. SML. Then the second point, few investors of SCP are not happy with the management decisions, are willing to dispose their shares, right? Now that is the second point. If existing shareholders, if you go back to the group structure, if existing shareholders not happy with the management decisions or board decisions, they will definitely exit. These shareholders may be some of the public holders and Kamal and Gemunu as well, right? We can't ignore Kamal and Gemunu. Sometimes Kamal and Gemunu also may dissatisfied with the decision, dividend decision. Public holding definitely. Now what can be happen, right? Outsider may approach the SCP to acquire SCP. This can be happen in different way. Somebody will acquire 40%, 30%, 25% likewise of SCP, but it won't give us big impact to the paper, right? But if someone acquire more than 50, right, then the shareholding structure will change. They may ask us to produce the consolidation for their company, right? Not to the SCP then. Understand the gravity. Or they will ask you to analyze the group structure. Say somebody will come, foreign country or local investor will come and acquire 30% of SCP, right? And they may bring their technology, they may bring their state of art techniques, right, to the construction industry, and they may ask, we want to control the business either by ourselves or through your support. Then it may be a joint venture. They may enter into a shareholder agreement with Punchibanda or Kosala with some shareholder to have more than 50. Or sometimes through shareholder agreement, Punchibanda and Kosala will give them power to run the business, right? That is the second possible scenario that is come under restructuring. Now this is possible acquisition. Then second area, possible restructuring, right? Local law, foreign investor will acquire significant shareholding of SCP and will control SCP jointly with Punchibanda, right? This is one scenario. Then they will give you some share transactions, share transfers. Big story will give you. Then they will give you. They won't tell you this is a joint venture, right? They will tell you, okay, Punji Banda will transfer some shares to that foreign investor. They will acquire some shares from the public holding or existing shareholder within the public holding as well, right? Existing shareholder already within the then local law foreign investor. Potential law existing, right? Existing means he will be already a shareholder within the public holding who has 20-25%, right? Then they will give you the shareholder agreement, all the condition. Then they will ask you to analyze which type of uh, agreement they have. Then you may require to produce consolidation account for that investor, because SCP become another entity for that investor. We have past papers for this case 2 or 3 years ago, right? I will discuss those past papers also at the class as well. This is a one possibility. They will acquire some part of shares and enter into joint venture agreement with the Punchibanda. Then question will be tested, not SCP, to that acquirer. Sorry, right? The second possible restructuring means local or foreign investor will acquire significant shareholding of SCP and will receive the control via shareholder agreement. Can you remember in your syllabus SLFRS 3 and 10 clearly mentioned scenarios where I will write down, right? This is the topic you need to read. Control without, can you remember that topic? Majority shares. Hey, audience, this is the very important topic, right? Control without majority shares of the entity. There is a topic in SLFRS, right? There are some circumstances where you can get the control without majority shares. Please read that entire topic, right? In SLFRS 3. I think it is not 3, SLFRS 10, right? Control without majority shares. That is important to read. That means they will buy 35. Say within public holding, there is a shareholder who has 15%, right? They will acquire balance 16% from co-seller and will enter into a shareholder agreement to control the business without shareholding, without the 50%. That is the without majority shareholding. That is the other possible restructuring, right? They will jointly control or individually control. Both will depend on the shareholder agreement, how they will enter into that. They will give you the terms and condition of the shareholder agreement. Through that, you have to decide whether jointly control or individually control the SCP. Right. According to my idea, I will believe out of possible acquisition, this will be the possibilities, and possible restructuring, these two will be the possibilities. Then there is another area to consider, right? That is disposals. Sometimes disposal and acquisition will come together and produce consolidation incorporating both, right? Disposals. Now you know carefully. Now I have mentioned here as well that industry will not bounce back. Remember that wording, right? Chairman stated that industry will not bounce back, even though there are some positive signs of recovery of Sri Lankan economy following the domestic debt restructuring process. Now, even they talks about their business continuity of the business, they have some doubts about the uh, economy and the success of the entity. Therefore, they may decide to get rid from some business. Some business means they have only three business: construction, manufacturing for construction industry, and the real estate. There is a possibility of get rid from this real estate arm, right? That the disposal. This can be happen in the same time. SMLO, SCP will acquire another company while they will dispose real estate company. Real estate, you know, it is highly geared and serious loss of capital. They are in a situation called serious loss of capital and it's highly geared. Therefore, they may get rid from that company and sometimes they will receive some uh, consideration also for that after revaluing their assets. That consideration and their other money can be used to acquire another company. Therefore, there is a possibility of disposals as well. Same time, right? Having acquiring another company, disposals also will be tested. Then they will ask you to include both in the drafted console. They will ask you to reproduce the consolidation because they already produce. You may require to reproduce it, right? SREL disposal along with new acquisitions both can be tested together because now pre-seen given with unaudited, that means drafted consolidated financials, right? It is already console the SREL already included within the consolidation. If they told you they have disposed this on 31st March without considering they have prepared consolidation, then you need to show the removal within the existing accounts. That is a little bit complicating, right? Because now they already produced but not removed SREL. Then you have to remove SREL from the existing consolidation. You have consolidation. That is a crucial area which can be tested. Any question relating to consolidation areas, I have included the three areas as possible consolidation.
So is there any possibility to dispose SML?
SML.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's also can be happen. It's sometimes SREL will remain SML disposed, but sometimes SML remain SREL disposed. That happened. But what you need to practice only for one company, then you can apply it for the same to other. But I think SREL will dispose because now these days it is difficult to sell apartments. Therefore, why they are going to sell or further construction on court projects? They may be sold, but sometimes they will remain it and sell SML and acquire new company. Same time, as you said, SML will dispose and acquire similar company. Right? Note down that also. That's a good idea. Right here, SML disposal with new similar acquisition. It's also possible. Right? Then you have to ready for complex group structure two questions. Assume one another group acquired under SML law, acquired as SCP, you have to practice for that question. But practicing for one question is enough because it will give you the technical knowledge. Then amalgamation question you have to practice, right? In then you have to practice another restructure in two questions, but it is enough to, you have a past paper for this clear past paper. Practice that question is enough because read the shareholder agreement and understand whether it's a subsidiary or joint venture and prepare accounts for the newcomer, not to the SCP. And disposal, it's you need to practice how to incorporate a disposal to the existing console. Note down that. How to incorporate a disposal to the existing console. It's already console, right? Therefore, how to remove the dispose item from that console. Okay. Now I will move into my important inputs. Third point. The board of directors requested finance director to renegotiate that interest rate, and they have mentioned it more positive, right? Now, this is a reduction of interest rates for the existing loans, right? Very important point. Reduction of interest rates for the existing loans. Now, think about this. Reduction of interest rate, how it will affect to the lender and how it will affect to the borrower. This is totally financial instruments. In the lender's perspective, it's an impairment, right? Because your expected installments will come down, right? You already calculated your installment based on 17%. But now it's going to be 12%, 15% for overdraft. Is one issue. Other one, for term loans, you calculated your installment based on 15%. Now it's going to be 12%. That's the story. Then see what will happen to the lender and borrower. Lender's perspective, there may be an impairment. Borrower's perspective, fair value reduction. This is the impact. Therefore, you have to practice a financial instrument, the financial liability from the borrower side, SCP side, financial asset from the lender side, how to account, how to change the accounts for financial asset when the interest rate change. You want to write it down? We want to practice a question in a situation where interest rates changing, both lender's perspective and borrower's perspective. If you take the lender who grant the loan, it's a financial asset on debt. Therefore, it will be measured at fair value through most of the time. This loan will be measured at it's a financial asset for the lender. It may be measured at amortized cost or fair value through P&L. Right? Most of the time, amortized cost financial asset. Don't worry. From the lender's perspective, when the rates change, how it affects to the future cash flows. Borrower's perspective, it's an amortized cost financial liability, right? Or fair value through P&L financial liability. Then how it's affect to the future reportings. It's a crucial area, right? That can be tested. Then chairman said that industry will not bounce back. We have captured that point. Then next point, collaborating with research and development unit, the road development authority to develop innovative solution, apparently modify the whole bearing course and binder to enhance the durability of the road surfaces. Now they are doing research and development activities with the road development authority. If you go back to the pre-scene, the company is collaborating with research and development unit of RDA to develop an innovative solution. Right? They are working now. That means they are currently investing or putting money on research and development activities, right? Now, how it will be recognized in financial statements? Because you saw the trend in last 2 years. Question number three, all the last 3 years, right? Question number three always included SLFRS question. Last time you had revenue recognition. Am I correct? I can't exactly remember. No, not revenue recognition. Leasing or some question.
SL1 16 RU asset recognition.
Yeah, there was a lease question in last time. Before that, I can remember you had LKS 41 biological, that agriculture question, right? Likewise, every time they included more than 5 marks SLFRS question, right? Therefore, that financial instrument question or this research and development, that is intangible as a standard, can be tested, right? That's why I want to emphasize this area. That is this RDA agreement. How recognize research activities, how recognize development. Because I can remember there is an ACCA question, right? Same question, but not a construction company, for drug selling company, right? They have entered into agreement with the research and development entity to research and develop some 2 drugs, right? It's included my LKS 38, right? 38 standard. They have that question says they have entered into 2 agreement to develop 2 drugs. According to that question, one agreement is not a research and development. Another agreement is a research and development. It's a complicating question. Please remind me at the class to do that example again, right? How entity enter into an agreement with the third party to do research, how entity recognize that cost. That's very crucial, right? Let's note down that. Try to understand that area. Possible SLFRS, because always it will test with you. Possible SLFRS OLKS. Number one, financial instrument, how to restructure the financial asset or liability. Because both sides you have to study. We don't know which area they will test, right? How to restructure a financial asset or liability when interest rate change. Because this is actually connected with domestic debt restructuring as well, right? Now you saw 2 months ago, government has changed domestic debt. Some instrument they reduce the interest. For some instrument they cut the principal. For some instrument they extend the period. Domestic or international debt restructure will take in three methods. But this market people bring in different wording for that. But simply, sometimes interest rate will reduce. Sometimes principal amount will reduce. Or loan period will extend. These are only three ways. Individually or combination they will do. Now how it affects to the reporting. This is very crucial, right? Keep in your mind. This is very crucial because this was happened 2 months ago in the country for all the banks. Then banks are the investors in government bonds. Financial institutions are the investors in government bond. Government is the borrower. Then government has a financial liability. All the financial institutions has a financial asset. They have reduced interest rate. They have extended the period. They have reduced the capital. Then how they both recorded it. It is very important to understand and learn. This can be tested. Number two, how to account R&D expenditure when third party involves. There is a question in ACCA, right? This is the second area, right? Let's go back to the theme. Then final point, the audit committee. That's why I believe this time corporate governance can be tested. Now they proposing to enhance the scope of audit committee, help to improve internal control system as well as financial reporting standard of SCP. That's why you can have financial reporting question as well, right? Now I will take my last slide. These things you can read, which I have summarized and captured from the case study to show you the important areas. These are the possibilities, right? Last slide I have prepared before entering the classroom. Possible areas that can be tested. Now let's start with the corporate governance. Now, if you think twice, I have started my presentation with this slide, right? These are all the areas in your syllabus can be connected with. These are the possible areas I have presented in my second or third slide, right? Right? The red color, you can see the possible areas. Now see what I have captured for the possibilities after the discussion of the pre-Z, right? Out of these 8 items, I captured corporate governance. What are the areas? Exactly the corporate governance list, audit committee. They are responsibilities and duties. They are charter, audit committee charter clearly mentioned in your study pack, right? I will tell you, note down this charter because if you go back to the pre-scene in audit committee case, right? This sentence was there. Look this. Since there were no objections, company secretary was directed to seek advice and take actions to prepare appropriate board paper for the next board meeting. They are talking about audit committee functions, internal control, and financial reporting. If it is audit committee, this report wants a charter for audit committee because if you can go back to the pre-scene where it talks about the audit committee matters, look here, uh, Bhuvanekar, one of the independent director who head the audit committee, is not interested in having regular financial review committee meeting since he is not well versed in financial accounting. You know, non-executive directors they recruited, they are not accountants. They are engineers and some other qualification they had. Therefore, this one, the head of audit committee, he don't want to involve in the meeting because he don't know financial knowledge. This matter was discussed at the recent board meeting, and majority of the directors proposed that in order to have an effective audit committee, right? This is very important point. It is best for Boardeka to be replaced by Kosal as the chairman of the audit committee. Now your question, whether Kosal is a chartered accountant or is he knowledgeable in finance and the system of SCP? Is that true? Do they have enough knowledge? Can Kosal head the audit committee as the vice chairman of the company, right? Keep in your mind, son of the chairman, the related party. Again, shareholder, significant shareholder having 16%. Examiner will ask, is this statement is correct? Can Kosala become the audit committee chairman? Then you have to comment on that. Don't believe examiner ask that what is the composition of the audit committee, what are the responsibilities to be included. Directly they won't ask from you, right? Keep in your mind. They will ask whether this statement is correct, whether they can appoint Kosar as the chairman of audit committee. Discuss 2-3 marks. Is that clear? Now, what are the constraints that Kosala has to become the audit committee chairman? Number one, he is a significant shareholder, having 16% of shares of the company. Number two, he is a related party because of the significant shareholder as well as son of the chairman, close family member. Number three, he is an executive director. Audit committee chairman should be an independent executive director. He is not an independent director. Likewise, you have to prove he is not suitable. That would be the question, right? Number one. Then it was further observed that this will enhance the scope of the committee and help improve the internal control system as well as financial reporting. Now, secretary has appointed to bring a report about this. Sometimes secretary will join with you. You will be the audit firm, senior manager or partner. Examiner will give you that status. Okay, you prepare the report. In such a situation, you have to tell this is the definition of audit committee, these are the responsibilities of audit committee, this would be the charter, or sometimes the examiner asks you to write down a charter for audit committee because they don't know what audit committee must do. Therefore, they will ask you to prepare a charter. Charter is given in your study text, right? Now I'm going to tell you where it is. Audit committee charter. They have clearly mentioned. I'm trying to give you the page number. Page number 882 of the study pack. Right, there is a case study. The what is an audit committee charter? Right, there is a black box. Within the black box, they have given the answer. Audit committee of the board of directors charter. Number one, purpose and authority. Number two, composition and meeting. These things available in your corporate governance booklet, but better to refer this answer if examiners, right? So they will mark your paper based on the case study. That is one important area. Then page number 880, duties and responsibilities of the audit committee. Your corporate governance published book not available, these information like this. Now 880 page number, topic number 4.4, duties and responsibilities of the audit committee. It has presented in a table, duties and impact on the effectiveness. Now look at this question, right? Enhance the scope of the audit committee and to help improve the internal control system. Now, this can be connected. Then they will ask what are the responsibilities and duties of audit committee, how it impact effectively to their activities. That table as it is you have in page number 880. Right. Now I have gave you two areas, right? Page number 880 and that charter, page number 882. Just for your purpose, just keep in your mind that benefit of audit committee, drawbacks of audit committee. Then you can see here what I have highlight, the change the scope and help improve the internal control. Now examiner will ask you a question, how audit committee will improve the internal control? Note down. Here, the question will be how audit committee, right? How audit committee can improve, right? Can improve internal controls of SCP. This is the question. Examiner won't ask direct question from the booklet. Keep in your mind. This will be the question, right? How audit committee can improve internal controls of SCP. The entire answer available if you are in your study pack, page number 883, right? Now I have gave you three areas to be considered, right? Right. That is, I am moving back to my possible areas in the presentation here. Now that's how that audit committee part can be tested, right? Responsibilities, charters, and composition. Then board composition. Again, it has a risk. We use all, right? I show you the board composition given in the pre-scene. This is not clear. No information properly provided, but unseen will give you additional information. Therefore, board composition questions can be tested. Therefore, the same chapter 26, you have a lot of pages, lot of explanations about the board composition. Read that area seriously. Right? Then I want to bring you to page number 875. There is a practice question in your study pack. Page number 875, right? There is a practice question. Not 875. 875, you have the answer. Question actually at 872. Ferry is a listed company in Sri Lanka Colombo Exchange, which imports and sells high quality genuine South African food to people and restaurants in Sri Lanka and has a small warehouse in Sri Lanka. This facility purchases and packages South African ingredients, including specialty South African meats and cheese for catering purposes and for individuals. Now they have given you the PNL for 2 years and asked two questions. Right, this is 872 to 873 is the question. Actually 875 and 4 you have the answer. Write down this. This has to be changed. 872. Practice question. Two questions they ask. Use financial and non-financial analysis to explain their performance. Right. That is ratio analysis. You can test for the ratio analysis this time as well. Number two. Evaluate board of directors of Perry using the following criteria. This chapter 24. Have that area, right? How to evaluate qualities of the board of directors. Evaluate board of directors qualities based on strategy formulation, policy making, supervision of executive management, and accountability to shareholders. It's a possible question. Therefore, my request is to read this question and answer and try to match the answer given here with the preceding. Right? That's all about the corporate governance, which I believe can be tested. Right? Any question related to corporate governance now? Any idea or inputs from your side? Okay. Now let's move into the second area which I am expecting to be tested. Risk of material misstatement in financial reporting. They clearly mention they have issues in financial reporting standard. Right? You can remember. While they're talking about the audit committee and internal control, they mentioned that. They have issues with financial reporting standards. But while going through this case study, the material now generally what was happened few years ago with the previous syllabus, they will ask what are the possible material misstatement can be included. That was the method tested with the audit paper. Then you had advanced audit and assurance with the pre-scene. Now you don't have advanced audit and assurance paper. You have financial reporting paper, including controls. Now you must say material risk, which can be included in financial statements as an accountant, right? Your role was changed. In the previous syllabus with the audit paper, your role was an auditor. Now you are an accountant. How you identified material misstatement in the financial statement as an accountant? Then you don't want to write down lot of material misstatement. Examiner will ask, pointing out specific areas. What I identified that examiner can be tested, that is research and development expenditure or ERP system they are introducing. There is an issue with employee benefit. They have not captured some information for the EPF and ETF. They have highlighted. And I have not mentioned you can include financial instrument as well because of the interest rate reduction. Right? Now, why I have not included it, they mentioned bank gave them a positive hint. That means not still agree. That's why I included research and development expenditure, revenue recognition, ERP recognition, and employee benefit. Examiner will select one area out of this. Probably revenue recognition also can be tested because condominium property sales, you will collect money by advance, right? Step by step. But control will transfer. Once you hand over the property to the customer, you are not producing the product at the customer's premises, but they have mentioned they will customize the product according to the customer's requirement. Now, it's a big issue whether control transfer at a point of time or whether control transfers over a period of time. SLFRS 15 clearly mentioned in what circumstances control transfer at once, in what circumstances control transfer over a period. If it is over a period, how to recognize revenue, how to calculate the stage of completion, that's the progress. Therefore, revenue recognition can be tested this time with the question number 3. They will ask what are the possible material misstatement with revenue recognition and how you tackle this issue, or research and development, or ERP, or employee benefit. Like last time they tested leasing. Is that clear, Pudha? I believe it will be revenue recognition, no research and development. But all these 4 areas they highlighted. Then the other one is the internal control issues and the recommendations to overcome those things. Again, they will be connected not for the entire company, for a specific line item like research and development, or identification or establishment of ERP system, or employee benefit. What are the internal control issues they have? How to overcome them? The question out of these 2 or the both can be tested, I believe, this time. Okay. Now the third area, right? The third area is the going concern. This was tested as my memory 2 or 3 papers ago. Going concern was tested in the question number 3. Here now going concern is clear. Going concern issue is clearly mentioned with SL. Their real estate company has negative net asset, right? Highly geared. Therefore, there is a doubt whether company can continue as going concern. In such a situation, how accountant react for that? What are the activities that accountant must consider when there is a going concern issue? Likewise, going concern question can be tested in connecting to SL, right? Sometimes the examiner will ask, what are the implications? In going concern, you have internal and external implications, right? When there is a doubt, what are the implications of the doubt? What are the internal implications? What are the external implications? Likewise, can be tested. Therefore, you have to read going concern auditing standard. Not the accounting, there is no accounting standard. No. You have only a paragraph for going concern in conceptual framework. But auditing standard, you have implications of going concern. Those implications better to write it down. Somewhere in the open book references, because it's not note, right? Not copied. In your study test also, I think you have going on some chapter referring to the audit standard. Here, look at the study pack, page number 1011, going concern issues, implication related to going concern issues. They have copy and paste entire auditing standard, right? Financial implications, operational and other implications. Then you examiner may ask you to understand what are the implications that SRL has out of this list. Then you have to understand, you can't write down just these points, right? Don't write down just these points. You need to identify what are the points highlighted in the study map or the standard. Out of this list, what are the items you can understand within the pre-Z? So for example, net asset minus is a financial indication. It's mentioned here, page number 1011. Net liabilities, that is net asset minus. Net liability is position of SRL. This amount of net asset is minus. Going concern issue because serious loss of capital. Likewise, you have to practically write down. Don't just write down this point. Right? Then they may ask, as accountant, what are the actions you want to take in that situation? Right? They won't ask audit procedures. Don't think about that. They won't ask audit opinion, type of audit opinions to be issued, right? But they can be asked, what are the activities, actions that accountant must take in such a situation? Because conceptual framework clearly mentioned, if there is a going concern issue, that company's account must be prepared in a different method, that is in liquidation method. You can't sometimes recognize long-term assets and long-term liabilities. Therefore, better to read the chapter related to the going concern in conceptual framework as well. That's how that going concern can be tested. Next point, the last point, restructuring, that was discussed. I have included these additional slides: possible acquisitions, possible restructurings, and disposals. Right? As I plan, yeah, it's 923. Areas highly can be tested. I have highlighted. And I want to tell you another one important thing. All areas I have highlighted here, not only that, going concern, materiality, internal control, true and fair view, material misstatements, corporate governance, everything I will discuss within weekdays with online classes with the students, right? Therefore, within this month, if you have not covered that part, you can take those idea by participating in the class as well. However, thank you very much for the participation, and I wish you all the best to become a real chartered accountant. This time, don't bring these problems into the next year. Again, otherwise you have to read another pre-zine in next time in July 2024. And syllabus will change from 2025. Therefore, better to complete your chartered accountancy journey within this year. Right? Thank you very much.